What is going on, everybody? Big Red here. Thank you all for tuning in to my Red Talk. Once again, a little later in the day. Things are a little crazy at the moment. But just wanted to come on here and say what's up. A lot of people out there for something. That's weird. But just wanted to come in, say what's up to everybody, see how everyone's doing today. Today is currently Thursday, right? Yeah. It is Thursday, March 6th, 7th? I don't even know. Can't keep track of the days anymore. Really can't. I'm getting really bad at it. And, yeah, March is just trucking along. Absolutely trucking along. I think today's the 7th, I think. Now that I think about it more. Sorry, it's so bouncy. All these roads suck. Absolutely suck. There's literally not one good road around here. They're all terrible. All terrible. This is just what we deal with. So, I hope everybody's Friday's Eve is going good. I hope you got big plans for the weekend. It's still a little gray and dreary out over here. Better than yesterday, where it was absolutely dumping rain for a good portion of the day. So we just got absolutely dumped on all day. But I'll take this over rain. See, I don't mind the rain that like if it rains for an hour and stops, I'm cool with that. It's sunny out, everything. All right, yeah, like a little Florida shower. That I can handle. But when it's like, when you're talking 8 o'clock in the morning till, I got home at, 10:30 last night. Straight through. No, thank you. No, thank you, sir. I'm good. I am good on that. So I just wanted to come on here today. Actually, I have something interesting I want to talk about. And I heard it on the radio this morning. And actually, just when I was getting in the car now, they were still talking about it. In the car, I've just been listening to like sports radio, like ESPN radio, 98.7. And just kind of, whenever I'm in the car, whatever shows are rotating on, those are the ones I listen to. And I think they were just talking, Bart and Han was just on, and Han was talking about how an NBA player went after him, saying that basically, like, who is he to talk about the NBA when he never played in the NBA? Which brought up, I thought, a pretty good point. And I don't think that it's a fair point to make, because yes, there's people that played in the NBA. I'll just use the NBA as an example for this whole thing. But yeah, like, there's obviously people that played in the NBA that know about the sport, that know a lot about it, that are into talking about it and into, the analytics of the whole thing. And then I would say, honestly, the majority of the NBA probably doesn't give a fuck whatsoever. So, I think, like, sport analysts were kind of born out of the fact that, you're not playing in the sport, but it's kind of your job to know everything about the sport. Which is fine. I mean, I have zero issue with that. I think that if somebody's willing to put the time in, willing to really study and expand their wealth on the sport, I think that's, I think it's good for the sport, because now it automatically brings in somebody that really had no involvement in the sport, playing wise, but it brings another set of eyes on it. And then it's like people who've never played the sport might see that, this person, all right, they could be like, all right, Han never played NBA basketball before, but, he knows all this stuff. Like, I've never touched a basketball. Maybe I can get into it still, like shit like that. I think it's, I think it's good for the sports world too, because I think the problem you see a lot of times, and I don't want to say majority on like sports radio, but like almost the competitiveness of the ex-athlete who's on the show is going to dominate whoever they're talking to. And it's just, I think, it's kind of like an alpha thing, right? If, let's see, if Trent Williams is on a radio show or something, or podcast, whatever, and gets into it with somebody on, who's never played football, is just like a football fan and analyst, and I feel like that Trent Williams, being Trent Williams, who is a ginormous human being, big, loud, deep voice, the intimidation will just like overcome it, So I think it's a good, mix, and I don't really know if that makes sense. I'm trying to like put how I have that picture in my brain out into the world right now, and I hope that made sense. But I don't think it's fair to say that because somebody was not an NBA player that they can't talk about it. Like if you look at like a regular job, you have people that you're in your business, you're in your niche, or whatever, and you might hire somebody outside of your niche to help you with a portion of your business. Now it's like, it's kind of like that. That's the way I look at it. If your niche is food, but you want to get merchandise off the ground, t-shirts and hats and whatever, you might go out and you might hire a third party that is going to help you promote and create and do all that, because you're not, you're a food guy, you're not a t-shirt guy. So that's kind of how I think about that, and it's just like everybody working together as one to elevate the thing as a whole. So that's kind of what I think about that. Drop a comment down below if you have any thoughts on this. I just found it interesting that I've seen a couple of instances more recently about players calling out these analysts and stuff. So I definitely found it very what's the word? Very interesting, I guess. That this would really be a conversation. But I guess it's just the world we live in now. They can go on a podcast or on their own social media and say whatever they want. They're not just confined to, an interview on ESPN. It's like, obviously ESPN's not going to air something if you go and trash an ESPN analyst. Like, they might, but I think they might, just because it would probably get pretty good views, but that's besides the point. So let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment down below. Curious to see what you guys think about this. And the other thing I want to talk about today too was a fight drop today. A pretty good one too. And I say good in the fact that it'll be very, very entertaining. Everybody's favorite, Jake Paul, right? They announced today that he will be fighting Mike Tyson. Jake Paul will be fighting Mike Tyson, like in Dallas, I think in July, I think it was. I don't really know, but never in a billion years would I have thought that I would see this fight. All right, if you guys don't know, I'm a big fan of Jake Paul. I love what he's doing for the sport of boxing. I was never into boxing. Now, he got into it. I watched all his craziness on YouTube for years. And I think what he's doing for boxing, I think it's great. I think he's bringing more eyes to the sport. He's creating, a higher monetary value for fighters, which is also very good. And overall, I think he's really growing the sport. Like, there's got to be, millions of people that never watched boxing before, but now, because Jake Paul's a boxer, they're watching it. I can thoroughly say that I've never sat down and watched a boxing card until, I think it was Logan was the first one I watched. But, it was Jake Paul's, second pro fight. I watched the entire thing. So it's you can't say he's bad for the sport when he's bringing eyes to the sport that were never there before. And it's, in turn, making the sport money, making the boxers money, making the promotional groups money. It's wild. It's wild. The fact that people say that he's bad for this sport, you're idiots. Actual idiots. And I will die on that hill, because the sport of boxing was dying. Absolutely dying. There was no big names that, unless you were a die-hard boxing fan, you were ever going to see. All right? Alright, yeah, Tyson Fury, okay, that's one. Canelo, maybe. All right, but you would have heard the name, but unless you were really into it, you weren't watching. Think about it. When was boxing on? All right, you ever watching ESPN and it's 4 o'clock in the morning? Then what comes on? Boxing matches. And I'm pissed off about that because they took World's Strongest Man out and put boxing on now. So I used to love watching ESPN, and then midnight would come around and they would just start playing old World's Strongest Man. That was the greatest. Absolute greatest. Now, late night, mostly it's boxing. The sport was dying. The sport was dying. And this whole influencer boxing thing started, and, Jay kind of took it and ran with it, and, literally turned his career into a professional boxer. He turned himself into a professional boxer. So, my thought, if you think it's bad for the sport, you're just a hater, and you just don't like him. Okay, and I would appreciate that more if you said, listen, I hate Jake Paul, he's a terrible boxer. Okay, but to say that he's bad for the sport, and to say he's doing nothing good for the sport, that he's tainting the sport, whatever, you're wrong. You're wrong, okay? I'll go on that hill, I'll die on this hill, you're fucking wrong. So, if you got any thoughts about Jake Paul's boxing, let me know. I think it's a good conversation to be had, because, I'm living proof that, I would never sit down to watch a full boxing card that Tyson Fury was on. but I sat down and watched a full card that Jake Paul's on. Okay, so you brought a new fan to the sport. That's a win. That is a win. So I'm going to leave you guys on that. Drop a comment down below what you guys think, and if you want me to talk about anything else, if you want me to go off about this Jake Paul topic more, let me know. I'm down for it. I have this argument basically daily, so I'll gladly talk about it more. And any other topics you guys want me to talk about, let me know. I will, I'll touch on it. So thank you all for tuning in. Please make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the post notifications, all that good jazz, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace!